Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle something huge, something that keeps parents up at night, switching schools, especially internationally, and making absolutely sure your child doesn't end up losing a whole year.
Okay, let's just get right to it. This is the question, right? The single biggest fear. And, the honest answer? Sometimes, yeah, it happens. But here's the thing you have to understand. It's almost never because your kid isn't brilliant or ready. Nope. It's because the move itself wasn't treated like a strategic project.
I mean, this story, it's just tough to read. You've got this kid, Arnav, totally on track in his school in India. They move to the UK, and boom, the new school wants to put him back a grade. Of course, he was devastated. And here's the kicker, it wasn't about his intelligence at all. It was about things like age cutoffs and not having the right kind of paperwork to prove his skills. But, and this is the whole point of our explainer today, this is so preventable. We're going to walk you through exactly how to avoid this.
Okay, so to really get this right, you've got to wrap your head around one absolutely critical idea. You're not just switching schools or changing addresses. You are switching entire educational philosophies. Grasping this core difference, well, that's step one to a successful transition. And this right here, this breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have systems like CBSE, which are all about content mastery. It's about what you know, and you prove it with exams and getting the right answers. On the other side, you have international systems like the IB. They're all about skill development. It's how you think, how you solve problems, and you prove that with big projects, with portfolios, with showing your work. And look, it's super important to get this. Neither one is better. They're just different. It's like they're speaking two different languages of learning. All right, let's get into strategy. First up, you're moving from a content-heavy system, like CBSE, into an international, skill-based school. So how do you build that bridge between those two worlds? This quote really hits the nail on the head. Think about it. Your child could be an absolute whiz at math and science, but if all their schoolwork has been about tests and right answers, and they don't have a portfolio of projects to show how they think, that new international school is flying blind. They can't see the potential. They need proof. They need the receipts. Okay, let's talk timing, because trust me, timing is everything. See, international schools often place kids based on their age and their skills, not just because they finished a certain grade's textbook. So, as you can see here, there are these sweet spots. Early on, ages 6 to 8, ideal. End of class 5, a really strong transition point. Even the start of class 8 is a pretty good window. But see that last one? Ages 14 to 17, right in the middle of those huge exam years? Yeah, you want to try to avoid that if you possibly can.
So what's the game plan? It's really a three-step process. First, a digital portfolio. This is your show, don't tell move. Collect their best projects, assignments, any certificates. Show off their skills. Second, documentation. Get everything. I'm talking report cards, what the curriculum covered, letters from teachers. You're building an ironclad paper trail. And third, and this is so important, practice the skills the new school cares about. Things like reasoning, expressing their ideas clearly, and working in a team. You got to coach them in that new language of learning. Okay, let's double-click on the documents for a sec. These three things, they are absolutely non-negotiable. The report cards, that's their track record, right? It shows consistency. The portfolio, that's the tangible proof of their skills. And the teacher recommendations, that's the secret sauce. It's the human element, the story behind the grades. You need all three, because together they paint the whole picture of your child. Okay, let's flip the coin. What happens when you're going the other way? Moving from, say, a flexible IB program back to a structured system like CBSE in India. This is a totally different ballgame, and it needs a whole new strategy.
And here's the crazy paradox. IB students are built to be globally portable, right? They can learn anywhere. But ironically, one of the toughest moves they can make is returning to a structured system in India. It's because all those amazing skills, critical thinking, deep research, well, that's not what the CBSE system is looking for when it places a student. Your kid is absolutely prepared, but they have to learn to play a different game with different rules. Just look at this breakdown. It says it all. An IB kid is used to spending weeks on a research paper. The CBSE system wants a perfect, structured answer written in, 7 minutes. One values deep inquiry, the other values speed and accuracy with formulas. The knowledge is there, for sure, but it has to be, well, repackaged for the exam. And this right here, this is the hard truth every parent in this situation needs to hear. That amazing portfolio your child poured their heart and soul into, for placement purposes in a CBSE school, it means almost nothing.
What matters? Can they solve that math problem fast? Can they write down the definition word for word from the book? It's all about accuracy.
So what do? You basically put them through a 2 or 3 month boot camp. And listen, this is key. You're not trying to reteach them science or math. They already know it. This is purely about exam conditioning. It's about drilling formulas until they're second nature. It's about doing practice test after practice test against the clock. It's about training their brain to write in that very specific, structured way the exams demand. All right, so we've looked at both directions. Let's pull this all together now into one universal checklist. No matter which way you're going, these are the questions you absolutely have to ask to make sure this whole thing goes smoothly. Seriously, take these 6 questions and just work your way through them, one by one. When you do that, this huge, scary, emotional thing, it stops being so overwhelming. It just becomes a project with a series of manageable steps. This right here is your project plan. And that's really the big idea I want you to walk away with. Switching schools doesn't have to be a crisis. It's a project. And like any project, it just needs a good plan. It's not something that just happens to your family. When you understand the rules, get your timing right, and prep your child for what's coming, you're not just reacting, you are in the driver's seat. So, at the end of the day, the real question isn't, is my kid smart enough? Of course they are. The real question is their academic story being told in a language the new school can understand? Because with the right preparation, you can make sure the answer to that is a resounding yes, and your child won't just get through this move. They're going to absolutely thrive.